Hello to all that are joining us online in this WALC Cafe. This WALC Cafe is organized in frame of the European project WALC, which brings together 7 partners in 5 countries, and is inaugurated now with the first event, the Walking Body. We are here in an emblematic cafe in Guimarães, in Portugal. It's a cafe that is that has 7 windows. You can see it on the screen of Miguel Duarte, and it has 7 centuries of history, being next to the symbolical wall where it is written "Aqui nasceu Portugal." Here is Portugal born, and with this project we hope that walking arts will be reborn. This first event, the Walking Body, invited artists from all over Europe to reflect and to share their work about more than human walking. A special interest that we have in this European walk goes to ecological, natural dimensions of walking, and how we are not only walking together as people, but how we are walking together with the environment we live in and we are moving through. As a first guest artist, we would like to introduce you. We have Soazic Guezennec from France, which I present to you.
Hello everybody, my name is Soazic Guezennec. As Geert said, I am French. I live in France after, I just came back to France after living 14 years abroad, where I was in Mumbai in India and then in Berlin. My work is about questioning the relationship between human beings and their environment. And how I'm doing this is about, I'm always using in my process the concept of dépaysement, which is something I have never managed to translate in English. But dépaysement is at the same time the action to move from a familiar place to an unfamiliar place, so to move from home to a foreign country. But it's also the feeling you experience when you do this. And in everything I'm doing, I'm trying to both move myself and go in another country, but also experience this feeling myself and translate it into pieces which reflect this dépaysement. So that I believe that putting myself and putting the spectator into this dépaysement mood create a relativism where you are managed to observe your own environment from an outside place. So how I've done this by first traveling. I'm doing a lot of residency, and the first trip I've done was in Amazonia, in the forest in Amazonia, which I have translated into those paintings. Painting the Amazonian forest in red was for me a way to create an uneasy feeling, maybe. So it's both a very violent color, but it's also expressing something very maternal, I would say. And this is what I'm trying to do, to create this uneasiness by removing the green from the forest. I also crossed Africa for 1 year and staying mostly in the wild. And this resulted in a series of painting, which I given name to this painting, which was the time I needed to go to this place. And in this case, you can see lost 4 days, so we actually got lost in the forest. But why I did this is to show that how to represent the landscape shouldn't be a snapshot of a place, but it's about a journey, it's about how you go there, it's about how much time you need to go in one place. This journey in Amazonia and Africa also showed me that all the objects we use to protect ourselves from nature create a screen between us and nature. And I did a series of installations where I make all those objects useless. Here you can see those umbrellas through, and the rain is going through the umbrellas, and they become useless. I'm going quickly on certain slides because I have too many. This work is called Anthropological Boxes. I've cut out some business magazines. So, and all this comes from business magazine, and I've transformed them into insects, as you can see, and pinned them into entomological boxes. The idea was to question our own animality and what kind of animal instincts we still have as humans. So, are we human? Are we animal? And what animal instinct we can have in ourselves? I'm creating installations where I want the spectator to be immersed into the installations. I'm trying to do some installations where the people become not only spectators but also actors of the installation in order to question their own relationship to the landscape. Here you can see some videos that I have projected on the facade of the Palais Royal in Kathmandu, and which were showing the mountain and the familiar landscape of the Nepalese people. I'm going a bit more quickly. Here I've made a series of painting which I called The Revenge of the Geologic, the post-Anthropocene painting, where those rocks seems that they have fallen from the sky. And they create, it's also a reference to a more romantic painting, I think, but where the balance has been changed. It's the nature which takes power over the humanity. Sorry. So I did a whole series of painting with the rocks from my landscapes falling into the architecture. I've also done a series of work which questions the spiritual into arts. Those are art in situ, where I use, it's land art basically, where I use the nature as a medium and as support. I collect the clay directly on the shore, mix it with water simply, and paint the rocks. And when the tides come up, all those paintings are erased. And for me, it's really almost a spiritual act and ritual for me to do this, because I am only one part of the piece. I have to deal with the tide, with the light, with the rain, with the rocks, and it only works if all this combine, if I find a balance between all this. So it's a real way to question my position on Earth, really. So I've painted a lot of the coast, quite a big distance. I'm also painting the sky. Sorry. I'm painting the sky, I'm painting the snow. And the last work I want to show you is about, I call them decolonize. It's again about questioning our position on Earth. This installation is a series of flags which I created, and I made holes in the flag. So every time you plant the flag in the landscape, it creates like a constellation. And I'm asking the people to grab one flag and to go in the landscape and to plant it in the landscape as a manifest, in a way, to acknowledge our, to give, as I say, wrote here, to give Earth back to the stars. We don't own our planet. We are first part of a universe, and by planting the flag in the landscape and creating this constellation, for me, it's a way to recognize that. I go quickly because I don't know the timing, but I go quickly to the last 3 minutes. Okay. So one of the work I'm doing is to create space for experimentation, because all the work I've shown you here are work that I'm showing in galleries and museums, but I also create space for experimentation, where I want to invite people to reflect on their own responsibility in the development of the environment. I've created a real estate agency called Happy Owners, where I've created this space, which is a parody of a real estate agency. This was inspired by the real estate industry in Mumbai first, where I've collected catalogs and posters of the real estate industry and transformed the slogans that they're actually using. All those slogans you can see here are real. I've translated them into my own vision, and I put back those posters in the in the city using billboards. Here you can see the goats eating the posters because I'm using glue that I make with flour. So I had to fight with the goats. They were eating the poster anywhere I was going.
This was coincidental or on purpose?
No, it wasn't on purpose at all. But I thought it was a good cycle that nature would actually really take over the vision that I was trying to put in the city. This is another one I did in Berlin. So I did this project in Mumbai, in Berlin, in Istanbul, every time taking into account the context of the real estate industry wherever I was going. And the last one is the one I'm going to present here this week as a workshop. It's another parody, I would say, with Happy Tourist, which is a travel agency inviting people to get lost. Happy Tourist is an art project which was created in Berlin in 2018 by an architect, urban planner and myself, with the aim to raise awareness on the impact of mass tourism on cities and to use artistic practice to change the way we are or we are not tourists. So we create tours in the city using situations, using protocols, very abstract protocols that we give to the people so that they create their own derive and they start moving in the city. Here you can see this woman carrying ice cream. She had a prompt asking her to find a special cloud. And there were two of them, and they bought this vanilla ice cream and walked in the city for like 1 hour with their vanilla ice cream dripping on their arm. So it really becomes a space to perform the city instead of consuming it. And this is part of the workshop I will do here. So yeah, this is very quickly some of the work I'm doing. I had 10 minutes, I think I'm...
Thank you, Soazic.
Thank you all.
Thank you for this happy tour. Like I said, this is not only a presentation, this is a cafe. We are in an authentic cafe, but as well invite you to participate with your feedback, your comments, your ideas after we have done the round of artists that are participating to the walking body. The next guest in our cafe is Miguel Duarte, together with Natacha Antão Moutinho, the co-organizer of the walking body. Miguel, you are invited to.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Welcome for being assisting to this cafe. It's a very important moment. So I'll be very short in my communication. So I'm Miguel Duarte, and I'm organizer of the Walking Body along with Natacha and Geert Vermeire since 2018. And the thing that I want to show is part of my late work that was made after some walks in our main mountain, the Serra da Estrela, and it's a kind of method for work based on drawing. So these are several walks, day walks made during the last 6 months. The practice is combines walking with drawing on local, taking some notes and having kind of hard experience of carry the supports and having a day in hard conditions and during that that time it's the presence and the place that and the feelings of well, the nature and the one that I get in touch with, and that starts growing some feelings that will be after pass to the work. In this case, we have here a landscape that very fastly have changed, and this kind of say fog. It's not fog here. It's a fog. This kind of fog have inspired all the series of drawings made after. Okay. Because it was like remembering now everything. So these are some tracks made on the highest mountain of Portugal. One day walking, and this the actions took during this day walking. I inspired a certain mood for the drawings that have been made, and even the mode. Mode is the motto for the theme for the series of drawings. So. This is one of the case that the landscape conditions change very fastly from a shiny, bright day for a very foggy day, very dense with low vision, and this kind of fast changes on the top of the mountain inspired the series of drawings that were made by with charcoal and. Also connected with the place through the practice of transhumance that occurred during a lot of years, and they still occur in the over the mountain. These several images took from the place and worked after conduct to several key frames that are almost archetypes for continue to develop the work. So finishing, thank you, Geert. So I the workshop of this year is a long walk of 16 kilometers, around 4 hours from the center of Guimarães to the old city of the Iron Age time, and it's continuous of the other workshops that were being made these last years between Guimarães and another place like Braga, the city nearby, or around the mountain here nearby also. So thank you very much. So we are going to the Citânia de Briteiros with the appointment of Sociedade Martins Sarmento, which we thank you so much.
Thank you for this hike to your work, Miguel. Now we go to Veronica Perales Blanco to present her contribution to the walking body and our walking with nature.
Sorry, because the delay. Well, I have only 10 images to explain what I'm doing here. Louder? Yes? Okay, my name is Veronica Perales Blanco, and I'm an artist, and I'm a teacher also in University in Murcia, in Spain. And I'm glad to be here in the walking body this year because it's centered somehow in non-human beings. So I'm really glad to be here. Well, I choose this image to start because it's a high point that marks a moment where I start to work with drawing and empathy. And for me, it was really important. I was working with a transnational art collective, and we were working in this artwork, Simio Mobile, that mix great apes and mobile technology and young population. And well, while drawing in this project, I started to work with gorillas images, and then I realized that the most common image I could find, it was that one of the silverback, and I started to make these huge portraits of a female gorilla. And what happened is that after 10 years of non-drawing or non-traditional drawing, I back again to draw, and I realized how powerful drawing is to create empathy. And the importance of the work I could do with drawing to improve this interspecies relation. So this is also the start of my trajectory like ecofeminist artist. And well, I think I can resume if I say that I came from ecocentrism, and after this project I was in sensocentrism. This is, it was more important the feeling of the other animal beings than maybe just the healthy of an ecosystem. And well, after great tapes in feminine, I continue my labor with drawing, or my artwork with drawing, but I started to do GPS drawing. And I was also talking about animals. In this case is liminal animals, that as Wilkin Lika and Sue Donaldson explained in Zoopolis, liminal animals are not wild animals, they are not neither domestic animals, they are in the middle. So I was in London in that moment, and I started to run to tag this word fox in the places where human and liminal animals, foxes in this case, overlap. And well, it was also a project that makes me discover a lot of things that before I couldn't see. All the frontiers that they find in the city to move and to live in general. It was also important because with writing letters to the fox, I started to find partners, not in the art center or galleries. I started to find partners who, as me, were runners. And here in the Walking Body, I have two colleagues that participate, Yanis and Babak. So it was really beautiful to see how other persons started to run and to write with me in this project. So after writing letters to the fox, I went a little bit further, and I started to create a project that was a locative storytelling project in which was involved CGeoMap. Well, here also we have some persons important in CGeoMap platforms. And as I asked Sue Donaldson and Wilkin Lika, that are runners too, to participate in writing letters to the fox. I had also their participation in this other part or this project that was Species in Between, and that you can visit well, in the URL that you can find at the top. And in this project, Species in Between, I had other specialists, theory, people who work with theory and embodied cognition, and literature that involves animals and so on, and well, and some practices, we could say maybe meditation practices or similar. And well, I arrived to be the Eden, to be Eden. That is one project in which I'm working nowadays. And I could say that the proposal that I made for the walking body, it's a mix of two branches. One is this, to be Eden, in which I affirm that our body is part of the planetary body. And if we look like this to our body, we can also say that our body is also a paradise. It's a paradise for other living beings. So we have this idea in one hand, and in other hand, I have a research pedagogical project that it's called Drawing While Moving. I'm really interested in how the movement affects us while we are drawing, and how movement change the way we see things, and we are part of those things. And the proposal that I made to the walking body, it's called Any Eden in Motion. And well, the idea is to recognize ourselves as a potential paradise and as part of this planet's surface, and try to draw all this paradise in movement. So today we were talking about this figure from Paul Klee, que c'est l'équilibriste. And then I changed languages, and then today we started to draw this, the balance of paradise, or all these Eden or Eden bodies, paradise in balance. And well, that's the proposal. Think through drawing, try to see and feel and express ourselves and be differently through drawing practices. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Writing with the body of the earth is as well a topic that inspires the work of Fred Adam. How nature becomes literature and vice versa. Fred.
Hello Geert, so good to be with you. The screen is shared, all right. So my name is Fred Adam. And I have two big interests from the perspective of my art practice. One is how we can use technology to be more connected with nature, because I believe that unfortunately technology disconnects us from nature. So how can we reverse this phenomena? And the other one is how, as artists, we can collaborate, we can contribute to environmental regeneration with our art. So that's really the two big topics I have in my mind since a long time ago. And to respond to this question, my great teacher is nature. And so I want to present me not so much myself, but I want to talk about the land I love, and especially the wetland. I love to spend so much time, which is El Hondo wetland in Spain. And Veronica knows also very well, you knows better the foxes than me, certainly. But perhaps I know better some birds at the wetland. And so it's a story of a very important place, an ecological bird reserve, very important to preserve. So what I did is that just to say, imagine we have more than 250 species along the year in this wetland. It's absolutely amazing. So what I did, I had the chance to discover a wooden hut, a broken wooden hut. It was built like 10 years ago, but there were no projects really at this hut, and the windows were broken and so on. And so I said, I want to use this place. I want to give this place a purpose. It's a symbol. It's a way, a place for people and nature to be together. So what I started to do is a collection of feathers, as you can see on the screen. But what is really beautiful here for me is that it's a collaborative collection. So people get to know the project. So local people bring feathers at the wetland. And of course, so feather has a beautiful symbolic. It's so beautiful, no? And also then slowly after the years, like I started like 6 years ago, we've ended up by creating a cabinet de curiosité with the local people, but also with the ecologists and also with artists interested in environmental regeneration, and especially in using also digital technology for this purpose. So so what is a cabinet de curiosité from the 21st century? And also I believe that the key word is curiosity. How can we trigger curiosity to the people to be more connected with nature? So the walking body more than human topic is about bringing the intelligence of nature at the table and be in conversation and be aware of the intelligence of the beauty of the animals. So my way to do it at the hut is that with the ecologist, I collaborate in recording images, video, sounds, and I create audiovisual installation, interactive audiovisual installation, by trying to communicate this intelligence of nature by a kind of, I call it an ecosystemic interactive audiovisual installation where people can feel my intimacy with the land, can feel this beauty. For example, this installation is about the animal from the night, who are very difficult to be seen. No? So at the end, the art practice is an intent to show the invisible, to reveal this beauty and this invisible surrounding us, but we are not very aware of it. No. So what I would like to put on the table probably is the topic of artificial intelligence, for example. We are talking so much about artificial intelligence, but what about ecological intelligence? Ecological intelligence is all around, and why don't we speak about ecological intelligence and only about artificial intelligence today? So I believe that artists should think about it, especially artists who engage with ecological, environmental position, you know. So I think it's something important. So for this walking body event, with you, Geert, we are bringing some methodologies we elaborated during the years for a project called No One Forgotten, with different techniques we elaborated during 2 years for people to be more connected with nature. So if you come on Tuesday and on Friday, we will do another session. And also we created with David Merleau, the storyteller David Merleau from Canada, a walking app called Adventure, where you can explore the city of Guimarães from the senses, from the perspective of the ants. So you are also invited on Friday to come and discover this walking app called Adventure. It's free. You can download on for your mobile phone. And so yes, David Merleau will be also connected online on Friday. And so I think that's what I wanted to share with you. Yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred, for this body of work. Now I would like to invite our last presenter of this evening, Natacha Antão Moutinho, co-organizer of the walking body.
I'll do a very short presentation. I need to thank everyone for being here and being over there. I'm just going to show something that's been interesting me lately. It's about mapping and the possibilities of mapping. So I did the last few times we've been together, I tried to map in a participatory way. People were connected through the idea of doing a collective meeting, a collaborative work. So between collaboration and participation kind of change between one work to the other. But the first one was weaving a sharing, actually, or tecer uma partilha. It's much nicer for me in Portuguese, because Portuguese is my mother tongue. So it was about the possibilities of thinking about a walking, not doing a walking. Actually, in walking body, we have like three main actions that happen. One is a very, very long walk, which usually is made by Miguel, as you've listened before. And the other one has to be with technology and digital stuff. Usually Geert invites someone to develop the work with him. And the third one is a non-walking workshop on walking. Because first, we want the door to be open to everyone to participate. So there has to be an ongoing workshop on site. Second, many people don't walk, but have walked and cannot walk, or maybe one day they can walk. So we need to do a walking workshop, possibly sitting, but thinking about walking. And finally, it's a very good complement between all those two walks we already have. So what we did was make people think about walk. The first one, they thought about a walk, and they just draw a line, a colored line that made a huge map that we shared at the final exhibition. So the second one was about the possibilities of finding stuff while we walk. What can we see? How can we engage with the place? So people brought some fragments or treasures from their own places through their own walks. And then we shared this in a collective map. It's also important to have ring bells while we talk. So it's also important to acknowledge that Guimarães is a special territory where textile is a huge, major cultural domination, and people work a lot in textile in Guimarães. So that's why we brought weaving also to the discussion. On this one, we wove a huge web together as a collective, and finally we did a small piece. This is a very, very slow process, so this was the work that was possible during a week. And finally, what we're doing on this walking body is about embroidering the territory with trees. This year, Guimarães was promoted his huge territory, the historic center, o Centro Histórico de Guimarães, enlarged. So UNESCO acknowledged that this is a very important cultural worldwide heritage. But trees and birds and bees usually are not welcome on this process. So we want to invite people to embroider a tree on this map, to leave their own mark on the territory, and maybe look at the space also through non-human eyes. So this is my invitation. Hope you have understood all of it, and if you have any questions, we have time afterwards. Thank you. Okay, the yellow line is the buffer zone, and the red line is actually the line of the territory. You know, there's a very strict area where it's World Heritage, and there's like a buffer zone where it's more flexible, and after the yellow line, it's wildlife. Okay, anyone can do almost anything. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for weaving this together, Natacha. As always, it's
exciting
to work with you and Miguel. There is a microphone here in the cafe which can go around for any of your comments, feedback.
Manuel is going to present.
Okay. We have it says,
Special guest.
we have indeed a special guest. Can you introduce Manuel?
Yeah, sure. So this is Manuel. Do you want to introduce him, Miguel? So, in the site of Walking Body, you know this organization, this event is part of a much larger organization that's called WALC, Walking Art and Local Communities, and all this information is available on the site. So we have all these workshops available, and the last one we want to share is Manuel Fernandes. Saturday morning in a territory. We pick a bus actually to go to a place, and then it's a surprise. Manuel, can you please present yourself? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Manuel Fernandes. I am a non-artist who is glad to join the Walking Body thanks to the kind of invitation of the organizers. So I am the outlier of this group. I am a non-declared passenger. In fact, I am a forest engineer and a geographer apprentice who works in nature conservation. I am engaged with a critical perspective on some ecological phenomena, namely the so-called plant invasions. Next Saturday, we will make a workshop which is named Santurcato Transsubstancial or Transsubstantial, a walk in shades of green and grey. So I will try to read the presentation of this workshop in a less formal way, I hope. In the heart of a rural parish, on the outskirts of Guimarães, lies the sanctuary of Santurcato. It's a massive granite building whose tall towers can be seen in the distance. Here you are looking at an old picture during the construction of the sanctuary. Inside this eclectic style sanctuary, something unexpected awaits the visitor. The mummified body of a man, dressed as if he were a bishop, exposed to public curiosity. Nobody knows for sure who this body belongs to, although tradition identifies it as a non-canonical saint whose devotion dates back to medieval times. When seen in profile, we can glimpse a sui generis landscape represented on this body, with slopes and prominences, even a valley with a bridge suggested by his arched hand, as if the surrounding landscape were transfigured into this body. Some distance away, in the place of Ataca, mysterious granite warriors stand in the middle of a field, slender and arranged in a strange rhythm. Some claim that a battle was held here in the 12th century under the auspices of Saint Mamed, another holy man whose body has long since been lost, but whose name remains. Portugal, as a political entity, may have resulted from this battle, and a fierce debate persists around this idea. In the surrounding fields, corn, vines, and wild herbs grow and bear fruit every year, indifferent to the discussion. Walking along this transubstantial landscape, made up of green and grey, can open up new possibilities for the eye and the imagination. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manuel Fernandes, to bring into the Walking Body this mysterious body and transubstantiation. Starting with some mystery, you may have some questions. You can add them to the chat. We have also a microphone going around in this cafe in Guimarães. So any comment, feedback is most welcome for you online in the chat, for the ones here around in the cafe by the microphone. Yanis, please ask a question. Right? You can take the microphone.
Yes, I I hope not to say much more about this, but I hope to, I hope that next Saturday we can discuss these things in the field, walking.
If you would allow me then to rephrase it, this is because you live in you are part you go to nature very often. It is part of your
That's right.
expertise. Do you really do that? I mean, already this is a very specific place. You know, do you try to find in every place these hidden stories, or this is a very specific space?
I had the opportunity to study that place regarding its vegetal landscape a couple of years ago. And so while I was walking through the landscape, suddenly something came to my mind, relating the landscape that I was walking through with the body of that saint that gives his name to the whole parish, to this medieval parish. And it's interesting because the name of the saint is the name of the place, and that's not a very usual thing.
Can you repeat that?
Yes, the name of the saint, San Turcato, is also the name of the place. You don't have another toponym related to the place, only the name of the saint. And what I mean is that this is a very rare thing to happen. Everything that happens here is somehow related with the presence of that body, a body that no one knows whom to it belongs. The first reference appears in the 15th century, even though the cult to the saint is much earlier. So it looks like the body has been planted for some reason. It appeared, there's a legend around the appearance of that body, and it became exposed to public curiosity in the 19th century, at the time the sanctuary was built. This for one side. For the other side, we have the place in the middle of the field with those strange granite warriors that mark a mythical place where this country may have arisen from. A battle that happened there in the 12th century between mother and son. So no one knows for sure if that battle was held there, and even how important it was in the build of this nation as a new political entity in the 12th century. But in fact, we can use, if I may say, we can use that place to make a reflection around things like belonging, like, for instance, the identity of a country and other related subjects. I think it's an inspiring place, and that's why the architect, I talked with him, the architect and artist who made those granite warriors. I talked with him today for the first time. I'm not sure if he will be able to join us next Saturday, but he has a very interesting vision about his own work, because he's not concerned with the discussion and debate about a country that may have arisen from that field. Okay, that's all I can say for now. I think it's enough.
Yeah, thank you, Manuel. I love the expression "a planted body," so it's more than appropriate. Any more questions in the cafe?
I come from Belgium, Flanders. That's a different locality or local landscape than here in Portugal, or I can imagine in Spain. And I also see in the audience people who come from really different local histories, local myths, local narratives. How does this locality influences the people who are, or the artists who here presented their work, influences the work? I mean, like you, for instance, the story of the fox is maybe, it's a liminal figure, but it's another liminal figure in Flanders than in Spain. So it's intriguing me how localities can influence this contact and relatedness with the human and non-human. It's a broad question for everyone.
Fred, would you like to comment on that? How the locality like that 12 is like an inspiring with your work.
Yeah. All right, so we are on Earth, the same place. Okay? Planet. It's a planet. But it's true, for example, I can have, we were talking about blackbirds this morning, and I talked to Babak the behavior of blackbirds. We are commenting on this, but in fact, the behavior of blackbirds in the wetland, around the wetland, are a little bit different from the behaviors from the blackbirds here. So it's interesting to discover, from my point of view, that at each place, animals also have their own culture related to their location. Even if they are the same species, they have a cultural dimension, property unique to the place that is very beautiful to discover at the end. And it can be in behaviors, but it can be also in the aspect of the animals, you know. And so each time, personally, when I arrive here, I'm so excited to discover probably new species I didn't know yet, or discover new behaviors, you know. So I don't know if I really respond to your question, but that's a little bit my feeling, how I feel it, you know. It's because I carry also the animals from the wetland with me, so it's kind of communication, you know, an exchange. Someone want to reply, to continue?
Well, I think I would say something similar. It's we can use local to talk about global phenomena. And there are some things that can be, or patterns, or yes, speaking about relations that we can find repeatedly in different places. For instance, when a sound, as the one we just listened to, stop the relation between the most of animals, and that it doesn't mind if it's the bell here in Guimarães or is the flight passing by Alicante. This is something that happens everywhere. The sound we produce, humans, sometimes cut the connection or the dialogue between different species. Those things occurs everywhere. I mean, yes, there is. And as Fred says, it's really interesting when you arrive to a new place, figure out what relations between human and non-human animals happen in that place. It's a really beautiful way to approach to a new territory. Yes.
We'll move now to the chat, awaiting the other questions that you may have in the cafe. I see that Bob had a question relating to Russian cosmism. The Russian cosmists have the view that we already, by being part of the world, we know it. I see a discussion going on in the chat already about how media tech can help us to reunite, to connect, to restore the relation we have with the world. We have already with the world by knowing it on a way that going to the body, but can be extended, reinforced by technology. So, Fred, do you have anything further to add to that? How technology can help us to reunite with nature?
Well, sir, it's about probably using softwares, applications, helping you to get to know better the place. For example, so trying to discover tools and resources. You can use a mobile phone for it. For example, this morning we were using a Merlin bird app to recognize the song of the bird. It's a free app, by the way, it's very good. And so we could expand our knowledge with a kind of a Shazam for birds with a mobile phone, and I think it was wonderful, and I use it very, very often. It's a good example, for example. Yeah.
That wasn't my question. Did I rephrase?
I would like that it may amplify our perception. For instance, technology let us listen to the frequencies, sound frequencies we cannot listen as humans, or we can see better because we can see in different scales that otherwise I couldn't access. So I think this is a key answer is to amplify and to improve our senses, yes, to let us go further in the knowledge, yes.
No, it's okay.
So of course I think technology is very useful for scientists to improve our knowledge of nature, and but as an individual myself, I think that technology is more give me more distance towards nature. I feel that we are a bit stuck to technology, and that it separates us from nature. The kind of tools that Fred was naming can help us have more knowledge, but in my opinion, I would rather leave the technology and connect to nature directly and meditate in nature without technology to get to know it better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes. Elaborating, extending this conversation, I see some comments about artificial intelligence relating to cosmism, where science develops and re-engineers the life and nature on a higher plane. How can artificial intelligence play a role in relating to nature, or does it only make us redundant as human beings? Any thoughts on that?
I believe that ecological intelligence is the first force of inspiration we have. I think it's much more intelligence than artificial intelligence, for the reason that ecological intelligence is relational. It's a relationship. Artificial intelligence, no. It's kind of a result based on a kind of a research and algorithm, no? But ecological intelligence, it's million years of history and a relationship in the ecosystem. And I believe that artificial intelligence should be, in a certain way, subordinated to ecological intelligence. And we should talk more about ecological intelligence.
Add something to the question of whether artificial intelligence could facilitate our understanding of nature. That's the question, right? Yes, absolutely. Like every tool, I don't think artificial intelligence stands out in any particular way in that sense. But when or technology is useful or practical or usable in taking away a barrier between ourselves and nature, if it allows us to get closer to nature, that is, lower the barrier to access. And whether that's binoculars, which is technology, or whether that's a cell phone with the Merlin app that allows you to identify which birds are singing, that doesn't really matter it doesn't really matter in terms of which technology is doing this. And identifying the birds uses machine learning to identify the birds. That's a form of artificial intelligence. So yeah, absolutely, AI can bring us closer to nature, but it very much depends on what the technology is in practice and how it is used. It can also create a larger distance, just like putting on sunglasses creates a distance between ourselves and nature. So yeah, it can, but also it might not. Really depends on the context and the implementation.
And I'll chip in with the question actually for Natacha and for Soazic.
Oh, Jesus.
I see much similarities in your work, in the work that Natacha is doing. Not all the work she does, she has presented, but the relation of color and how the natural environment actually is an aesthetic, it becomes an aesthetic element, or has an aesthetic dimension that is reflected in the work of art, and how this coming together of nature and culture, nature and art, is a very natural one, literally. I see as well in your work, Soazic, where there is at one side there's a very engaged activist element almost of giving a voice to nature, but as well a very aesthetic one. And how aesthetic is important in your work. Can you tell something about that, Michael?
Yeah, you're right, thank you. For me, it's very important to represent nature which is beautiful. Nature is beautiful, I think. But I don't want it to be only beautiful. It has its fragility, it has its vulnerability. But I believe that by showing how beautiful nature is, it's also a way to make people aware of its value. And as an artist, I feel this is what I can do, to put light on something around us and show how beautiful it is, so that people will value it. I moved back to, after living in Mumbai and in Berlin and in many big cities, I've decided to move back to Brittany, in nature, because I've realized that I was very frustrated when I was separated from nature, and now I need to be more connected to nature, because I want to feel amazed by nature. Émerveillement, I don't know how you say this in English. How do you say? Meravillament. Meravillament. And for me, this is very important. And I feel that, again, as an artist, I'm an activist, but I don't want to work only on to be too cynical or to work with anger. I want to show how beautiful it is. This is the most important thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mike, please, Vero.
I was telling that l'émerveillement, I think it's linked to the text of or the words of Rachel Carson when she talked about the sense of wonder and how we lose this childhood capacity to el asombro, no? Yeah.
I don't know, I think Soazic made a wonderful answer or question, by the way. So I'm not a very creative person, so I tend to just use what's lying around, and in Guimarães there's a lot lying around. And I also think that the world is such a dark place sometimes that I tend to look at the bright spots. So I want people to bring the brightest spots in their life, talk about happiness. It's very, 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 very important. We need to find new ways of looking at happiness. So yes, thank you, Soazic. I really love your work. Thank you.
I have a question for all the speakers that were behind the microphone today. My question is, do any of you see in the work of any of the other artists who were speakers today an opportunity for potential collaboration? Is there something that any of you would love to work together on with any of the other speakers?
I also have an answer.
That's two already. Fantastic. So, Veronica was the first one.
Yes, I'm surprised because Natacha, she doesn't speak about the fact of fabrics, and because for me this is like itching drawing. I mean, it's the fact to be very conscious when you make the line and do create these lines with other people is connection, direct connection. So I see this possibility, of course. And with others too, I think I can recognize myself in its project. Yes.
So yes, I totally agree. And I need to say that the fact that we are all here together today is because we want to work together. This is a very experimental workshop or meeting. We want to be together, but we want to be together with other people that someday will be organizing their own workshop here with us. So we want to build a good network of happy people, hopefully. So we have people that come to visit us, and someday they will come to visit us as an artist. So this wheel needs to keep on moving and going and changing. So the fact we are here is because we want to work together. Thank you a lot.
And I think this week is already a great opportunity to work together. The fact that we are all offering a workshop, but also as much as we can participating to each other's workshop is a very good way to get to know each other and to exchange and to discuss. Already this morning with Fred's workshop, he brought very interesting view on how to relate to a landscape, and we all it fostered really interesting interaction between all of us. And I think this week is already an opportunity to work together. And my experience of the whole walking network, which I've known now for 4 years, the first time was in Prespes, 4 years ago already, is that we will meet again for sure. I don't know where, but we will probably do things together again.
Thank you, Soazic.
There is one more question in the chat. Actually, it lasted so well, I expected it earlier, and it has much to do with what we were just discussing, the collectiveness, the collective wisdom, to take a step away from the individual authorship and to find a deeper rooted the knowledge that can also be called spiritual. The spiritual and the natural, actually who are very much related but are two worlds at the same time, are in the work that you have present, not in an explicit way but in a very implicit way. Fred, would you like to tell something about how this relates to your work?
Wow, it's difficult question. I just want to say that I am amazed by...
It's Fred talking now.
By the beauty of these rocks. We can see up the mountains, well, not really the mountain, up the hills when we climb up, and I could see these giant ball rocks and the church on top, you know, and I think that the church for me or the sacred are the rocks. It's nature itself, you know, and I just felt this powerful spiritual dimension here in Guimarães, in the landscape, you know, it's this force.
Actually, where we are, Minho is a prehistoric significant site that can actually relate to the prehistoric Neolithic culture that we have in the UK or in France, but is less known. The megalith, the constructions, the Britainers where you go, Miguel, have also a very the direct and deep relationship with the prehistoric culture that we know here. Would you like to have a last word?
I'm going to have to turn around. I've been the cameraman of this. What I think is most important is to share a bit of this melting pot of Minho. So everything is very close of everything. So you can eat below a stone, and you can also find a shepherd shelter and even passing a night there, and you can find all the ways which we are in a very motorized area, and new passages have been built, and the old passages have been forgotten. So if you in fact want to be close to nature, it's wonderful, because if you find old passage, you are automatically very close to nature. So, and this cohabitation between the old and the new is very powerful, and it's a high contrast here in Minho. So you have a factory, a huge factory, and a farmer with cows nearby. So it's that is Minho, and what is important is this neighborhood mixed with living beings and other sentient beings and the stones and buildings and all of that.
I remember Miguel, a walk that I did with you during the pandemic when I was stuck here in Guimarães with a marvelous group of people, that I suddenly found a stone on the ground and I showed it to a historian, and he told me this is not just a stone, this is a tool that is 5,000 years old. So it's amazing how here the past, the present and the future meet each other.
Yes.
And that this landscape and this nature is really ancient. So this is what we will experience.
You are always find marks of actions, human actions in the landscape. So it's not the fact that all the landscape here is very well worked. So every centimeter is worked or was worked. Now less, but it's full of marks of wheels of old cars, of animal marks, and even human marks, of course, over the stones, and you can find it everywhere, the old and the new. That's why we go also to Citania to find that old marks, try to get back in time, if possible, during this.
To get back in time
walk.
And to get back to a time where
Yes.
nature and humans were more related with each
Yes,
other.
in fact, the time when humans talk
with each other.
talk with each other, just after the animals could talk with the humans also. So if we could consider the old testimonies, it's like that. The old testimonies, so it's not very old, but something passed before. So this time between the time that animals stopped talking with people was right before the humans get out of the Eden. So they stopped talking to people. So now Veronica is recovering this presence of the Eden between us. So we start again talking with the animals and the other beings. So that's what we're going to do this week and Wednesday also. Thank you.
Great.
So thank you, Miguel, for this last thoughts. We will close the online cafe now. The physical cafe is still open, and we hope to see you in the next edition, which will be in March, live here. I would love to have a conversation with you in this emblematic old cafe with 7 windows, now windows to the world, and 7 partners from 5 countries meeting each other to dive more into walking and walking art. We would like to thank and acknowledge the main funders and sponsors of this event, the Walking Body, and of WALC, this European project, which are the European Union, the European Creative Europe program for collaboration between partners of various EU countries, and the municipality of Guimarães, the Impacta program, that made it possible for us to be together and to collaborate. We would like to thank you for being in our cafe and wish you a wonderful continuation of your day, wherever you may be.